Something unusual is unfolding behind palace walls. It is quiet, subtle, almost invisible to the public eye, yet it carries consequences far deeper than most realize. It is not a grand announcement, not a dramatic confrontation, not even a crisis in the traditional sense. Instead, it is a royal experiment, a test, a delicate attempt by King Charles to measure something far more powerful than protocol or tradition: public forgiveness. And at the center of this experiment stand two young women who did not choose the spotlight they were born into, two daughters who have spent their entire lives balancing loyalty to their father with the expectations of an institution that both nurtures and confines them. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have suddenly become the subjects of a quiet royal trial, one designed to determine whether they can be invited closer to the heart of the monarchy again, even as the shadow of their father, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, continues to darken everything around them. Before we dive in, there's something I need to share with you. Over the past few days, thousands have watched these stories unfold, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crownverse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal history. For years, Beatrice and Eugenie have lived in an unusual limbo. Born into royalty, raised in the royal fold, expected to uphold the dignity of the monarchy, yet never fully granted the responsibilities or recognition that come with being working royals. By adulthood, both had turned toward their own careers, carving paths outside the royal system, partly because the monarchy had no space for them, and partly because of the irreversible damage caused by Andrew's scandals. When his father's world collapsed, when he lost his HRH, his military titles, his affiliations, and ultimately his public role, the consequences rippled outward, sweeping his daughters into a form of royal exile by association. Their names were not tarnished, but the ground beneath them shifted. They were no longer simply daughters of a prince. They were daughters of the most publicly disgraced royal in modern history. Throughout this period, King Charles maintained a quiet fondness for his nieces. This detail is confirmed by insiders, who say he has always admired their kindness and appreciated their loyalty. But the monarchy is not governed by emotion alone. Charles inherited an institution with limited working royals, heavy workloads, and a public demanding transparency and accountability. Adding any new figure to the front line of royal duties requires public acceptance, political sensitivity, and careful timing. And the presence of Andrew's daughters complicated the equation more than any other factor. Then, something shifted. According to sources who spoke to Vanity Fair, the king has begun testing the water, gauging whether Beatrice and Eugenie might be allowed to take on more public-facing roles without provoking backlash. This phrase, testing the water, suggests not a decision, but an experiment. It suggests the king is watching closely, adjusting his approach, and paying attention to public reaction. It means nothing is confirmed, nothing is promised, but everything is being quietly evaluated. The first signs of this test emerged not in formal statements, but in subtle gestures. On November 13, the King's Foundation shared images of Princess Eugenie attending a mentoring event on behalf of the monarch. There was no fanfare, no heavy press coverage, no announcement of a new role, just a simple acknowledgement that she was representing the king in a meaningful capacity. Attendees described her as enthusiastic, proud, and eager to be helpful. Her appearance was warmly received, and the images were shared widely with supportive comments. For insiders, this served as a promising early indicator. Beatrice followed shortly after with her own step into a more public role. She was announced as deputy patron of the Outward Bound Trust, serving alongside her uncle, Prince Edward. Though this role is not officially tied to working royal duties, it aligns her closely with the monarchy's charitable efforts. It is the kind of position often held by royal family members who support the institution without being full-time representatives. Again, the reaction from the public was largely positive. These two events were small, quiet, almost discreet, but together they signal a potential shift in Charles's strategy. The king appears to be carefully placing Beatrice and Eugenie in situations where the public can observe them positively and naturally, without framing them as replacements or official working royals. It is a soft introduction, not a declaration. According to one insider, the king does not want his nieces to suffer because of their father's downfall. This sentiment reveals a deeper emotional layer to the story. Charles, who had to make painful decisions about Andrew, stripping him of honors and removing him from public life, is now faced with a different challenge: determining how much Andrew's children should bear for the sins of their father. While Charles must protect the image of the monarchy, he also feels the weight of fairness. He must balance compassion with caution. What makes this story even more compelling is the internal divide between verified facts and unverified speculation. It is confirmed that Beatrice and Eugenie have full-time jobs outside the royal family. It is confirmed that they have expressed willingness to support the king when needed. It is confirmed that they have appeared at recent events connected to Charles's charities. But it is not confirmed that the king has offered them any future roles. It is not confirmed that there is a plan to bring them into official duties, and it is not confirmed that these moves are part of a formal strategy. The idea that the king is testing the water comes from insiders and must be treated as an interpretation rather than an official statement. And yet the plausibility of this interpretation is undeniable. The royal family is facing a workforce problem. With the Queen gone, Prince Harry and Meghan out of the picture, Prince Andrew removed, and the Wales children still years away from adulthood, the monarchy is operating with a limited number of senior figures. Princess Anne and the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh carry enormous responsibilities. The King and Queen are aging. The Princess of Wales is dealing with her own long-term health challenges. The institution needs support. And Charles knows Beatrice and Eugenie are among the only senior royals of working age who can step in without disrupting the line of succession or the public hierarchy. This is why the possibility remains alive. But the challenge is the public. While Beatrice and Eugenie are well-liked, while they have never been involved in controversy, their proximity to Andrew complicates their potential return. The monarchy cannot afford miscalculations. Public backlash can destroy even the best-intentioned decisions. So Charles must test, observe, and adjust. This is where the symbolism of the situation becomes powerful. Beatrice and Eugenie represent a generational transition. Not rebellious like Harry, not duty-bound like William, but quietly loyal. They want to support their uncle. They want to contribute. They want to re-enter the royal fold in small ways. And they carry a sense of emotional honesty that resonates with the public. But they also carry the burden of their father's name. Andrew's scandals have cast a long shadow. His fall from grace is one of the most dramatic in royal history. Even though Andrew has denied all allegations, and even though he has never been charged with a crime, the public perception of him remains extremely negative. The monarchy cannot separate the daughters entirely from the father, not in the eyes of the world. And that is why Charles must tread carefully.